It's nice to see everyone today. Thank you for joining us. So I'd like to introduce from the EVMWD team, Martin Soria. He serves as a wastewater treatment specialist for the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District. And he works out in the plant day in and day out and sees some pretty exciting things happening. So we'll kind of get into that. But Martin, I'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I'm Martin Soria. I'm a wastewater operator 3 here with the district. And I've been in the industry for about 5 years. Got a background in environmental studies, and I currently hold a grade 3 operator certification from the State Water Resources Control Board.
Great. And can you give me a little clarification? What is a wastewater operator's certificate mean to the general public? Is that something that you test for, something that you go to classes for? Can you give us a little insight?
Yes. Most of the time, yeah, you would want to go to class to prepare for the examination. But in order to be a wastewater operator, you have to take state examinations, and they range from levels 1 all the way up to 5. A level 1 operator would be more of your entry level. Level 3 would be more of your journeyman level, and your grade 5 operator would be more so of a managerial level. Right now, like I had mentioned, I'm a grade 3 operator. I'm one of a couple of the journeyman operators here at the plant. So yes, you need state examinations. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to perform the duties required to treat the sewer.
Great. So Martin, how long have you been with Elsinore Valley?
I've been with the district for about a year now. Yeah, for a year.
Great. And so I know that over time that you've run into some really interesting things. So sometimes when you're out working in the sewers, let us know what kind of work that you do and then some of the encounters that you've had.
Yeah, so I work at one of 3 regional facilities or 3 facilities that we have here with the district. We have the main facility, which is regional. We also have Horse Thief and Railroad. And my duty as a wastewater treatment plant operator is to ensure that the sewage water that comes into the plant is treated at the very end, because we use it as reclamation water. We use it in also the vast majority of it goes to Lake Elsinore. So we want to treat that water. We want to ensure that all we have going in at the very end is water. We want to make sure that we remove all the constituents that we can possibly do, including the bigger things that pass through, like I'm going to mention. We get a lot of things that pass through, like such as flushable wipes, a lot of the things that I've had come through, dog toys. Also, in addition, money, driver's license, school IDs, golf balls. We've had a lot of stuff pass through.
Some pretty crazy things. Before we kind of get into those crazy things that you found in your days and in your work, you talked about the reclamation process and that the water ultimately, a lot of our water here that's recycled goes into Lake Elsinore. And so how does that process work? Do we, do we meet state standards or federal standards, or how does that process work? Kind of in a nutshell, so our guests understand.
So we do meet state standards for all that. We take samples, biological samples. We take laboratory samples on a daily basis. We have a great team of laboratory technicians that check to make sure that we meet our standards and exceed on a lot of times, to ensure that the water that we put out at the very end is the best quality that we possibly can. But at the very front of the plant, the main thing that we want to try to remove is inorganics, the large items, the things that we have at the very front. We have a thing called a bar screen, and it removes as much inorganic matter as possible, because it can be detrimental to the downstream equipment.
Absolutely. So I think that's a great segue into some of the odd things that you guys find there in the sewer. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you can tell us a little bit, Martin, about what we're seeing. And I'll. Okay, can you see my screen at this point?
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Okay. So you talked about things getting caught up in the bar screen, and this particular item. Oh, it looks like it disappeared. You can just see this one, I suppose. Can you tell us a little bit about these rags? What exactly is that?
So essentially what you're seeing here is all the inorganic material that actually does pass through the bar screens. Because bar screen does grab the vast majority of it, but little things do make its way. This is probably, I would say, on a good couple years worth of buildup in a segment of the plant that is very difficult to get to. But me and one of my fellow operators were able to remove these rags. This is coming from the railroad facility a couple of weeks ago, and these items are going to be ranging from mostly flushable wipes, also baby wipes. You're going to get hair in there. You're going to get dental floss. You're going to get feminine products, and these could have a lot of negative impacts on our system. So it's to the best interest that, first of all, that it doesn't get flushed, and that we try to remove it prior to getting to the downstream equipment, because it can affect the pumps. That can get it affects our process in a negative way.
Yeah, so that we can see is a pretty messy job, and it's something. Here's a sample. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what you pulled out here. And
yes, so this is also going to be from the railroad facility. This is at the influent pump station. This is prior to even. This is the very first stop. So basically, you're going to get, like I said, a lot of flushable wipes. You're going to get pieces of towels. You're going to get feminine products, and now you're finding a lot of face masks. Those are passing through now as well. But yeah, you're getting dental floss. A lot of hair is getting bound up in those, what we call rag balls. So they, well, before they can become an issue, we try our best to actually remove those from the system early on, because we don't want those in the downstream equipment, like I said. But yeah, primarily, and then you're gonna get like wrappers of food. You're gonna get snacks, anything that anybody could potentially put down. It will make its way down to the sewer facility. So
it's not really something that we think about, but a lot of items are getting flushed, and I guess we think about flushable wipes or feminine products that those we kind of think about. It's okay to flush. I know that you all run across things that you don't usually see. Here's a photo from one of our years past splashing the spring events. And these were some of the things that your team has found over the years.
that's correct. Yeah, so they've found those over the years, and it's pretty common to find those at other facilities, especially the larger facilities are going to be able to come across those quite more often. In this case, we have them set aside. I wouldn't recommend maybe putting the jewelry on. It's gone through the sewer system, it's gone through the collection system, but we do have it there in the event that somebody would want to find the potential item that had got flushed on accident, or in a lot of cases it might be a family heirloom, or a mother's ring or a father's class ring in this case right here. So yeah, those are more of the oddities. And in the event that we do come across those, we just set them aside for people who might potentially want to come and
absolutely. And so then I think also we think about when we're potty training, and sometimes kids things end up.
Yes, yeah. So these are good. This is from our horse thief facility, and when they pass through, and you can see in the background, there's actually a bar screen right there, and it actually gets caught up in the system. In addition to those toys, you're going to find golf balls, and you're going to find other things that are dog toys, like I had mentioned prior. They get bound up, and they don't make it further down the system because they just get lodged in the screen behind where this one particularly came from. But yeah, you get a lot of stuff like that, a lot of toys.
Absolutely. So what is the strangest thing that you've ever found in your work and cleaning out some of these bar screens and that sort of thing?
Yes, yeah. So for me personally, like I had mentioned, driver's licenses, school IDs, obviously golf balls, dog toys. You'll find the Kong dog toys. But I think by far, the strangest thing I've ever found is a hamster and a fish. Yeah, I found those at a previous facility I worked at, and yeah, by far that's probably the strangest thing that I've seen.
Absolutely. So Martin, with all of that, I think when I think about the sewer, really the way in is down a drain or flush down a toilet. And sometimes it's just easy to toss something in the toilet and flush. And as you mentioned, baby wipes and a dental floss and that sort of thing. But I know that's not the recommendation because it does cause that issue on the in the screens. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that, and I'd be happy to show the video when you're ready to kind of go through that.
Yeah, so basically what you're gonna wanna flush is essentially 3 Ps. Poop, pee, and paper. You're not gonna, other than that, it's not recommended to flush all the other things that I potentially mentioned, or all the other things I mentioned, such as diapers, feminine products, no fats, oils, and greases, obviously, because it could potentially cause a blockage in your sewer system, which could be costly if you're gonna have a plumber come out and unclog a line. But it also could be on a larger scale, an issue in the collection system. We have a collections team that goes out and, you know, in the event that something does get clogged, we have the equipment to unclog it. But it's time consuming and it's costly, and it's just better if those items don't make its way that far. Just it's gonna eventually, if those products make its way to the plant, it's gonna go into like I mentioned, the bar screen. The bar screen is gonna send it to a big dumpster, and it's gonna go to a landfill. It's just easier, and it's easier if you just put it in the trash can, the dumpster at your home. It's just going to be a lot less stress on the system.
Well, and probably a lot less stress on the homeowner system as well, because then you're not going to have the blockage there in our much smaller pipes that we have at our home. Unlike, you know, the bigger pipes that we have as a water district. So I think that's great advice. Just skip the step, throw those things in the trash. So they go directly to the landfill rather than making that extra trip down the sewer.
That's correct. Yeah. It makes it a lot less difficult for everybody.
Well, I think you bring up a good point with the 3 Ps, and I think this is a great time for us to share with everyone about the difference between what happens with toilet paper and what happens with, say, flushable wipes. So I'll go ahead and share a little video we've put together. Is that video being shared right now?
It is.
Can you see it? All right, can we see that?
Yeah, yes. So obviously the very first item that we have there is toilet paper, and second flushable wipes, and then it looks like that's going to be just your standard paper towel. But yeah.
And dental floss. Okay. Let's watch what happens.
So here it's just going to be toilet paper, and essentially because it's a paper pulp product, it's going to break down very easily in the water, which is not an issue at all when it gets to the sewer system, when it gets to the wastewater plant.
That is our flushable wipe.
Flushable wipe, and then a
Paper towel.
So the main thing with the issue with the flushable wipe is because it's made out of, like, it has a lot of polymer, polyethylene, which basically helps it keep it intact. It doesn't break down very easy in the water. So what ends up happening is it's not an issue for one piece of flushable wipe, but once it meets other flushable wipes in the system and it gets caught up with hair, it'll eventually make a ball, and that's why it can be detrimental to the system.
And truly make what we saw in that wheelbarrow picture.
Exactly. That's eventually what it will become. But like I said, it's harmless when it's just one piece of a flushable wipe, but once it makes its way into the collection system and meets other ones, that's when it's going to be an issue. So.
Yeah, it makes more of an issue. Okay, and I think the last one we're going to throw in some dental floss.
Yeah, dental floss acts kind of like as a binder to hold all the flushable wipes together, all the hair, and it just makes it worse. Yeah, 5 minutes, it just deteriorates. So by the time it's made its way to the plant, it's non-existent. But what's still around is obviously the flushable wipes and all the other items that have polyethylene.
Most definitely, you can see how things, you know, like the toilet paper will really break apart and go through that bar screen. but based on these other items, they get tangled up or they don't break down at all.
Exactly. So like, for example, the dental floss, because it's so small, it'll pass its way through the bar screen because it's very small. And then if any other flushable wipes do pass through, they get clogged up at different locations past the bar screens. We have good bar screens, but it's not 100% where everything is going to get caught at the bar screen. Small little things do get caught, and over time it will eventually make its way into a ball, or a rag ball, like we call it. So that's when it becomes an issue.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's really important, as you mentioned before, that at home, we have to protect our own systems. We don't want to have a big clog, and little things like this, even like you said, hair or dental floss and that sort of thing, while they're smaller, they can get tangled or trapped in and cause a big issue for us at home too. So that's great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right. So Martin, anything else you'd like to share with us about the wastewater treatments, services, about protecting our pipes? Any last thoughts that you have that we can share with our guests?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, just ensure that, if you have anything like such as diapers or flushable wipes or anything, feminine products such as that nature, just ensure that you throw it in the trash can and ensure that it doesn't get into the sewer system. Once it gets into the sewer system, it could be it can have a lasting effect. It can get caught in different places, make its way to the plant. Like I said, the bar screens will catch the vast bulk of it, but some stuff does get by, and that could be detrimental to our equipment. We do take everything apart from time to time and remove the rags like you saw in the pictures, but it's time consuming, and it takes a lot of work out of other things that we could potentially be doing to make sure that the water is cleaned before it gets to Lake Elsinore and to the reclamation system. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for that. And I noticed in our chat, we had someone say the 3 Ps. So that's fantastic. We just have to keep the 3 Ps in mind when we're using our toilets. So I want to take this time to open it up to any questions. I see we have one question in the chat box. Have we ever found any weapons?
Weapons? No, I've never come across any weapons. Those might be a little too big and a little too dense to actually make its way down to the sewer. So no weapons. It would make its way to the proper authorities. So
absolutely. And so one other question about fish, and I believe yes, you have seen fish.
I have, yes. Yeah, so I have come across a fish that is a relative of the piranha. So it has like the teeth, and it was a little scary. So
that would be very scary.
Yeah, it was a little scary. You see, it was unfortunately he had already, because he was in the sewer system, he passed away, but it was pretty scary.
Absolutely. That would be a little frightening to come across when you're cleaning things out.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That is a little nerve-wracking to see that.
Absolutely. So are there any other questions from our audience today? Go ahead and type them in the Q&A.
Bonnie, we do have one question, a hand raised from a Mr. George Corbin. So I will go ahead and allow him to talk. And George, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Great, thank you. Hi, George.
Hi, George, you are allowed to talk, but you'll need to unmute.
Yeah, I just hit that accidentally. I don't have a question.
Oh, okay, great. Well, thank you for being here today. All right, any other questions from our audience? All right. Well, thank you, Martin, so much for joining us this morning. We learned a lot and we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.